Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Havlicek Stole the Pod. I'm your host, Alex Goldberg. With me, as always, Dr. Justin Quinn and Daniel Dunbedian. Through the magic of editing, we are recording this section of the news after we recorded the bulk of the pod, which we're going to get into a little bit later. But we are going to stitch that whole thing together and make it great for you. Dr. Quinn, how are you doing today?
Well, it's early here in Mexico City, and by early I mean before noon, which is early for me, so I'm kind of awake.
Daniel, what's going on in your world?
I'm good. The humidity around New England finally went away this week, which was really nice because it was bad the past few days, but kind of getting that fall weather, which is almost basketball time.
It sure is almost basketball time, and the weather is complying with that as well here in Brooklyn, New York. We have a couple of just quick and dirty news items that we're going to get into, and then we'll jump into the rest of the pod. We're going to start off kicking things off with a little bit of personal news, which is that I, your lovely host, Alex, went away this weekend to the woods and did something pretty cool. I got engaged to my lovely nameless partner who will remain nameless. And it was great. We had a lovely time. The details can be found, at least the pictures of such can be found on my Instagram or Blue Sky if you care that much. But yeah, feeling very good, feeling excited for that and all of the things that come with it. And also excited for the new season of Celtics basketball, which I will be watching while my now fiance casually walks by and doesn't care about what's on the screen, which is what has been our routine for the past few years. Anyways, jumping out of the Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. Dr. Quinn is a model of married success, so I will be leaning on him heavily for all sorts of things in that regard. So let's jump into the actual Celtics-related news. First off, the Celtics have signed Ron Harper Jr. to an Exhibit 10 camp deal. What do we got here, fellas? Ron Harper Jr. is, at least for now, a Boston Celtic. Daniel, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, not too much on him. He has been here before with the Maine Celtics, so a familiar name. He can shoot pretty well. I think with the Motor City Cruise, he hit like 11 threes or something last season, and it was like a G League record for the franchise. But is he going to make the actual team? But just another name to add to the mix, I guess. But his stats, I will say, when I looked at his numbers for when he actually got minutes last season, they were pretty good. So that he has that going for him at least.
Dr. Quinn, anything to add on Ron Harper Jr.?
Yeah, speaking of him being with the team formally, I was actually surprised to let him get away because he looks like a promising young rotation player if things pan out with him. And that's always the big if. But, I mean, he was shooting like close to 40% in the G League. He puts up good numbers, varied stats. He's not just like a empty stats scoring only kind of a guy. So if he can find a way to make it translate to the next level, it's exactly the kind of guy they want in their system, regardless of whether that's going to be in Maine as a two-way guy or they can bump someone up to the open regular roster spot, or who knows. Lots of things can change. People can be traded. Good guy to have in the pipeline.
Yeah, it should be noted that Ron Harper is a little bit older than your standard Exhibit 10 guy. He's at 24 right now. So, it's possible that often we do see like late second rounders and, undrafted players that kind of don't make the league in part because they're just a little bit further along on the age curve. But that actually could be to some degree a plus because he might have a little bit more physical maturity and experience than your average Exhibit 10er. So we'll see. Again, not necessarily a guarantee that he's going to be suiting up on opening night for the Green, but worth noting. Bill Chisholm has formally successfully completed the sale of the Boston Celtics and is now the majority owner. Wyc Grousbeck is going to be, in an interesting spot. The kind of aforementioned plan of Wyc Grousbeck staying on as the team governor and kind of conciliary for the Celtics for the next few years appears to be sort of in flux. It sounds like Wyc will be around, but at least formally might not have as much power as maybe people initially thought. Maybe.
Let me push back on that, because there's language in the release that was clearly included to say he is going to be involved in basketball activities. To what degree and what kind of a say he has, bigger question.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can speak for at least myself on this in saying that I'm a little skeptical, only in that ultimately the guy who signs the checks is the one who is finally in charge, because he's spending the money. I think Wyc can, serve as an informal advisor and, kind of lend some thoughts and lend an ear here and there. But again, this is now Bill Chisholm's team, and he is going to be the guy running it. I think that's the kind of main conclusion. Daniel, any thoughts regarding the sale?
The transition seemed to be pretty smooth. I do wonder if they'll have media availability for him. I feel like they might. So maybe we'll get a chance to hear from him about the busy offseason, which I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions about, and maybe his future in the coming years, and probably what Wyc's role might look like, because he would know better than us. But I would assume that's maybe coming in the next week or so, or maybe a month. I'm not sure. They have some time to schedule it, but.
Yeah, no, I think there's going to be plenty of FaceTime with Bill. It seems like, the Celtics tend to be pretty above board about their media presence for leadership. And also, if you're owning a sports team, you're probably the kind of person that's fairly comfortable in front of a camera anyway. But the sale is complete. We will see more of Bill Chisholm later. And then additionally, the Boston Celtics formally signed Amari Williams, second-round draft pick, to a two-way deal. He now joins Max Shulga and RJ Luis Jr., who was acquired in the George Niang trade, as the Celtics two-way guys for the upcoming season. Thoughts? Did the Celtics get this right? Was there anybody missing that should have been on the two ways? Is there anybody who was on the two ways who maybe should not have been on the two ways? What do we think?
I mean, unfortunate for Miles Norris, but I think they made the right choice with Amari Williams, getting him on the two-way. I mean, maybe they'll need him this year. I don't think that'd be ideal, but he is a big man, and they got Keita, Garza, Boucher, kind of. Tillman, maybe. I feel like his fate isn't necessarily sealed, but he could be more important to this team quicker than usual than they'd have in past seasons, especially with Tatum down. But I think it was right to get him on a formal deal.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that the team clearly started valuing, excuse me, I'm, again, not entirely awake. Started valuing players with maybe higher upside, but much more work to do in terms of becoming like competent rotation players. And they have the time to do it now for at least a season. So why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think Amari has some upside for sure. The big thing with Amari Williams is that he just has pretty serious athletic bounce. He's a pretty solid rim protector as well. Can't shoot at all. And he's definitely a pretty raw prospect in many respects, I think it's fair to say. But that's exactly what the two-way deal is for. I don't really know anything about RJ Luis Jr., so I can't really speak to whether that's a good use of the two-way or not. Because again,
Big East Player of the Year.
There you go. And then, Max Shulga, I mean, that's Justin's guy, so got to be happy about that one. So the biggest news probably for the Celtics is that their schedule is out along with everyone else's. The general consensus is that this is actually a relatively easy schedule for the Boston Celtics. They have very few back-to-backs, and they don't have, among other things, any particularly super late games. They also have 25 national TV games, which I think might be a tad more than we expected, given that their most nationally prominent player in Jason Tatum is certainly not going to be suiting up this year for the Celtics. So let's start with this. How do we feel about, first off, the current state of NBA TV presentation? We've now got the Celtics on Paramount, Amazon, ESPN, NBA League Pass, they are kind of splintered into a bunch of different places. It's unclear where Scalabrini's going to be at. We don't really know anything about this broadcast. What do we think about kind of the state of the broadcast right now?
Yeah,
I think it's. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I can't say I'm a huge fan of the 10 different channel method, like Peacock, Prime. The casual viewer, I feel like they might just not know where to look for some of these games, and that is going to turn some people away. Also, I think it might bump up the pirating a bit too, because they're like, oh, well, I can just look it up on Google and then I'll find the game no matter what service I need or don't need. So I don't think that's a great idea, but maybe as the years go on, it'll be more cemented and established so people will know where to look. But for now, they posted a graphic with the primetime games, and it looked pretty confusing. I was like, this is not great for the average fan.
Definitely not. Dr. Quinn?
Your comment about this potentially, it seems so obvious this is going to drive people towards piracy, right? It just, it's so obvious to me, it almost makes me wonder if they're doing this to just say, see, advertisers, we told you this was what was going to happen if this happens. Now let's do something else. Because it seems like if you're having ratings issues, which again, it's not a huge crisis right now. They have, I think, most of a decade to sort out what's going to be happening with that in the future. And by then, things are probably going to look radically different anyway. But for the moment, it just seems psychotic to have all these different outlets and then expect people to pay for them, particularly the most dedicated fans.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a little bit messy for sure. But, it's interesting. I think of a quote, football season is coming up. And I think of Roger Goodell, who recently said that the NFL's competition is not the NBA or the MLB. They're competing with Apple and Google. And I think that's right. I think that that's more accurate than maybe the NBA would like to believe. But I think that's largely true. This idea that the NBA is ever going to get to where the NFL is at as far as ratings are concerned, it's just not going to happen. Like, the NFL is a colossus. It's so much larger. It's so specifically made for TV. There's basically no chance of it ever happening. And so that brings up the question of who is the NBA's competition for attention and for views and for eyeballs. And I think there's something to be a case to be made that yes, the NBA is competing with the MLB and with NHL and the kind of smaller sports, the smaller sports of the Big Four. But really what they're competing with more than anything is, I think, like YouTube and Instagram and highlight mixtapes. And, the way that the kind of casual NBA consumer operates now is much more online based than it is in kind of traditional TV watching. So I do wonder if this play is more designed to kind of take control over where people can watch those highlight clips, where people can watch the previous games highlights in a kind of condensed fashion, because it from a TV viewing standpoint, it's a mess, and it seems like it's only going to get messier. But we'll sort that out with many future conversations. Anything else to add here?
I just wanted to say, and I'm going to say this every time this topic comes up for the foreseeable future. Once upon a time, you used to be able to turn on your television, watch the Celtics, and see some ads. And that should be a model for the average consumer. Maybe that's where they'll go sometime in the future. Just fast or free ad-supported television. That model can work online. It's already being done in other areas. Just for those of us who don't have the money to pay for all these things, bombard us with ads in the margins around the side while we are watching. Let that pay for it. Problem solved.
Yeah, maybe so. Let's see. What else do we have? Well, I guess, we should talk a little more about the actual schedule itself. So first off, does anybody have any kind of broader thoughts on the schedule? It does seem like it's pretty easy. There are not many back-to-backs. Are there any portions of the schedule that we're going to be watching particularly intently? Justin, you want to go first?
Yeah, the Schedule is, if you go by game, it is it's listed as the easiest in the NBA in terms of strength of schedule. And when you go through it, it looks, being in the Eastern Conference, it's going to be kind of by default, right? But not all of it is the same, right? I know you highlighted, Alex, a part of the schedule that's pretty rough, but even like the first week could play a big role in deciding how this team approaches the entire season, because it's not impossible, if things get off to a rocky start, to be winless into the month of November. I doubt that's going to happen, but it could.
Yeah, the schedule stretch that I highlighted is fairly spaced out, but does feature some challenging teams. At the end of November, Boston takes on Orlando, Detroit, and then has a back-to-back with the Timberwolves and the Clippers. It does feel like, there are kind of pockets where they're going to be playing tough teams. And of course, it does have to be said, the Celtics are certainly going to be worse this year than they were the last 2 years. So there might be some stretches that we don't think are going to be competitive right now that might end up being a good deal more challenging. Any thoughts on tougher stretches or easier stretches, Daniel, before we jump into the next part?
Yeah, I was going to say something similar to Justin. Just like those first 15 games, I mean, this is a new team, so they don't really fully know how to play with each other. Obviously, Jalen, Derek, Pritchard are familiar, but they're going to be throwing in some new guys in the starting lineup. And then in that first set, they get like the Knicks, the Rockets, the Magic twice, the Cavs, Pistons. So those are going to be some Eastern Conference tests for the most part to see like what this team is made of. I mean, like you said, Alex, we don't think they're going to be made of more than what they've been these last few seasons, but this will be a good test for the rest of the season to see. Maybe they put more attention into winning, or maybe they kind of go the other route, to put it lightly.
We will see. So there's a couple of games that we picked out that we wanted to, just kind of see what's going to be happening with those that might be worth paying attention to. I'll start things off. Obviously, I want to see the first rematch with the Knicks, October 24th. That's in Madison Square Garden. I just always like Celtics-Knicks games. I would love to say that I'm going to go this year, but I probably need to be pinching some pennies for the foreseeable future. So we'll see about that one. Maybe some kind person will bestow a fancy ticket on me. Who knows? But the other games that I'm really excited for, guys, I got to be honest. I think given the state of the Celtics and where they're going to be heading this year, I think I'm all in on them winning the NBA Cup, and really am going to be paying attention to those because they're not winning the title, and I don't think they're going to go very far in the playoffs if they even make it. Why not just get this NBA Cup? Wouldn't it be a great thing to see another trophy in Jaylen Brown's case for NBA Cup Finals MVP? That's the part of the season that I'm all in on, I think.
I like it.
Daniel?
Yeah, what I highlighted was the first game against the Lakers at home. I mean, normally you'd always highlight that, but now since the Lakers have Marcus Smart, I feel like it's even more of a fanfare because it's going to be a homecoming of sorts, which they've already had, but now for like their biggest rivals. So that's going to be kind of interesting. And I mean, LeBron, Luka, they should be there, maybe healthy. So that'll be an interesting game no matter what. And then the other game I highlighted was the fifth game of the season, I believe. Yeah, against the Cavs at home. I think this is a pretty good test to see how they're going to face probably the best team in the East. Are they going to get like leveled? Are they going to maybe hang in there? Could they upset them? Yeah, I mean, I think they'll probably lose, but still it'll be a good early test to see what this team is made of. Like, oh, could they be a sneaky like play-in team with Jaylen Brown leading the way and beating a team like the Cavs with Donovan Mitchell? Or are they going to get crushed and maybe look at the lottery a lot more?
JQ, any particular games that jump out to you that you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, to Daniel's point, the Celtics are going to get beat on a lot this season because of their recent success. Teams are going to want to get them back. And I am going to have to wait a while, I think, for the games that I want to see, which only one of the two that I brought up really fall into that category. The first one will be on the 28th of December versus Portland. I don't think that's really going to be one of those games, but there's just so many interesting players from Drew to Rob, probably, if he doesn't get traded first, Donovan Clingan. I'm very curious to see how that team works, first of all, and then to see how they match up against the Celtics, because in a way, I feel like they're kind of in a similar position, even if they're in very different eras of their contention arcs, if that makes sense. They're like trying to get back to being contenders, both but for different reasons. And then the most important game for me of the entire year is a Lakers game, but it's not the home game. It is the away game, which I see as a must win. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is because they will be unveiling a statue of Riles at the at the game, and we have to ruin that for them. And the second half of this podcast will make why that is very clear.
I couldn't agree more. There are a few things that would bring me more joy than beating the Lakers on Pat Riley night. That's pretty great. Really good segue to the next part of the pod. One final tidbit that is also a segue. Former Celtics nemesis John Wall retired. Of course, John Wall was a great point guard for the Wizards. In my opinion, one of the first great true victims of the three-point era, in that players like John Wall kind of rapidly fell from grace despite being pretty dominant. Obviously injuries had a lot to do with that as well, but led the Wizards in some pretty ferocious battles against the Celtics, leading to, among other things, the Kelly Olynyk game, Isaiah Thomas's 52-point masterpiece, all that fun stuff. The nose boop, of course, with Jay Crowder. Any thoughts on John Wall's retirement before we kick it to the next part of the pod?
Surprised he wasn't already retired was our general sentiment. Those injuries, I think, really sapped his effectiveness, and towards the end, he was just kind of there. It would have been nice to see him have one more meaningful push into postseason for such a storied career, but such is the NBA.
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add on that. He was one of my favorite players, even if he's in the East too. I just remember my brother had that old Wizards blue shirt with John Wall. That jersey was awesome. And he's just such an exciting player. I mean, I loved his dunks and like all the other stuff that surrounded him, like the John Wall song, if you guys remember that.
Oh, yeah.
That made it all the way to New Hampshire. So he had a pretty big impact.
Yeah, no, I remember the thing I remember most about John Wall, honestly, was college John Wall, which was electric. That was an incredible basketball experience. Anyway, salute to John Wall. Had some fun battles, and wish him the best in retirement. And I'm sure we'll see him around the orbit of basketball soon. Anyway, we're going to kick it to the next section of the pod. We have a really fun exercise regarding Pat Riley, John Wall, and many other Celtics villains. And we'll get right into that. Thank you so much.